Hey, what's up? John Sonmez here. So, I got a book review for you today. This is the book that has been recommended to me by a few people, and it's a really good book. It's called Radical Acceptance. I just finished listening to the audio version of this, and it's an interesting book. I think I'm trying to think about like what my general philosophy on this book is. So, there's definitely some things in the book that I agree with and some things I disagree with. But I think it's an important, I would wholeheartedly still recommend the book just because of some of the concepts of it are so important, even though it might be missing. Like, I wouldn't base my entire life around this book, but I would probably make sure that I am aligning my life with a lot of the concepts in this book, because a lot of people need to practice what is called radical acceptance, which is the title of this book. So what is this book? Is essentially, it's a book really about Buddhism. Like, you could think of it that way. Again, if some of you are like, oh no, I don't want to read something about Buddhism, give it a chance, and I would say that it is a kind of a pure form of the Buddhist kind of practice, not the kind of watered down stuff that you see, or the kind of warped stuff that you see a lot of times. And you see that a lot of times in various cultures, especially I went to China, I saw a lot of times it's like, this isn't really what Buddha was saying. Like, I mean, you're giving people money in order to like have fortune. Like, it wasn't quite the enlightenment and quite the acceptance and the dissolution of desire that Buddha was talking about. Again, you don't have to be Buddhist to benefit from the Buddhist philosophy or the Buddhist thought. Okay, so I want to say that, and here's the thing about this. I think this is probably one of the best kind of Buddhist philosophy books that I've read. Okay, I know there's probably some good ones out there, and some of you that are watching this, you're going to recommend me some. That's cool. I'm always interested in that. Again, and some of you are going to say, well, John, you must be a Buddhist now. No, not necessarily, but it doesn't mean that I don't accept a lot of the philosophy and a lot of the thoughts here. So the premise of the book is essentially, it goes into a few different topics, but obviously it's titled Radical Acceptance. And the idea is that you need to accept things as they are, accept yourself as you are, accept other people as they are, and basically adopt this philosophy of radical acceptance. And you might find some similarities here, because I talk about Stoicism all the time, which is the same exact thing. This is a very important concept for me, which is this idea of just accepting the reality so that you can change reality, right? And a lot of this is just like accepting that whatever's happening is great. It's fine. This is all just part of the ride that is life. And what I really like, which this author does in this book, is she clarifies a lot of the things. Because a lot of you, when I talk about some of this, you're like, whoa, if I'm just going to accept things and not have the victim mindset, which you can check out the video series on the victim mindset here. Make sure you click that playlist. Then I'm just going to allow the world to be, and I'm just going to get run over. And she clarifies many times in the book, how these things get misconstrued, right? The accepting of something does not mean the future permissing of it, right? So what I mean by that is that, if I accept my current situation, I accept what's happening to my life, and, some things that maybe I don't like, I'm accepting it as this is the reality. I'm not trying to fight this reality. I understand this reality. It exists this way. But it doesn't mean that I'm not changing. It doesn't mean that I'm not growing. And if I accept certain things about myself, I can look in the mirror honestly, right? And I can see who I am. And I've done the video about looking in the mirror honestly, which I definitely think you should do. But it doesn't mean that I don't have to change it. In fact, the first step to change is acceptance first, right? If you're going to change yourself, you're going to need to accept yourself as you are. And this is a message that I communicate all the time to you guys. So overall, the book is really good. It communicates that same message. For me, I found the book to be a little bit boring at some parts, because a lot of this is stuff that I'm already incorporating in my life. But again, I tell you guys all the time that the right book at the right time is really important. So if you're having trouble with acceptance, if you're having trouble with guilt or shame, and you feel like you're not good enough, or you have trouble judging other people, with forgiveness, right? All these concepts get covered in the book under the idea of radical acceptance, because you need to just accept things, accept people, accept situations. And this is really one of those things that if you haven't experienced in life, I'd highly recommend you read the book and start practicing this, because it changes your life. Not just when you accept yourself, but when you start accepting other people and their behaviors. I used to be the kind of person that I would fight so hard against other people's behaviors and who they were. And I would want people to be how I wanted them to be. I'd have these high expectations of people. And now I just accept people as they are. Like, I doesn't mean that, I accept all forms of behavior, not in any way. In fact, I'm more selective about what kind of behavior I'll tolerate. But I accept that the person has the right and maybe ignorance in a lot of cases to act the way that they do, and that's okay. I'm not going to let it affect me. I'm either going to tolerate the behavior or not. Accepting the behavior is a default. I accept that people do crazy shit, that they're dumb, that they do bad things, that they have a lack of judgment, that they're ignorant, essentially. Not that all people are. I'm not trying to say, oh, people are that I'm better than people. I'm not thinking of that at all. I just accept their behavior, and I don't have expectations on them. And the same thing I expect from me. So, really good book. To say some of the things that I disagree with the book, I don't necessarily disagree with anything in the book, but I believe that there's some missing component about, to some degree, being accepting of yourself is great, but you also need to be fucking hard on yourself. You also got to be tough, because you got to build up that actual toughness and that bulldog mindset. You got to have that edge, and that edge isn't going to come from just a Buddhist enlightenment type of acceptance in life. You still need to be the fucking warrior as well. So, but again, the book is not about that. And, so I can't really say that the book is saying don't do this. I'm just saying that you'll be missing some of your life if you don't have that edge as well. Especially if you're a man and you don't have that masculine edge. You're gonna be too soft, right? You can be too soft. And some of the experiences in life are going to harden you, and adversity will harden you. And that's an important thing, and it's important that you allow that process to happen. So, all right, that's all I have for you today. Again, the book is called Radical Acceptance. You can check out it here, and I will talk to you next time. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Click the bell so you don't miss any videos.